Identity, such a mysterious word.
How do we define it? And how do we define who we are?
We encounter elements of culture every day, without even realizing it.
Food, language, brands all combine together to become our customs and to create a cultural map.
The pieces of the Croatian puzzle. Join us for the next 30 minutes as we search for the true Croatian identity.
Who are we?
Ko smo mi? So what's your favorite Croatian food, Crna?
Well, I can't live without fresh cheese and sour cream. Did you know that it has been made for decades in small family farms? What's your favorite food, Matija?
Well, that's a no-brainer. Cevapi.
But that's not Croatian.
Yeah, but in a way, it is a big part of our culture.
We sent our reporter Iva Lukac here at Dolec Market to find some answers.
6 a.m., the dawn, market still empty. Cheese ladies unpacking their fresh products. Renata is one of them.
Moja obitelj, moje gospodarstvo bavi se preko 40 godina i 50. Težak je to posao jako, ali Bogu hvala ima dobrih rezultata.
Work begins at 3 a.m. traveling to Zagreb's market from a nearby city with other cheese ladies.
To je najstariji proizvod. Koliko sam ja čula po starijim ljudima, profesorima i znanstvenicima, za vrijeme Rimljana kažu da je se radil sir i vrhnje.
This job isn't only for women. Božo sold cheese here for over 30 years. His stand is the only one where people line up to buy his fresh, tasty cheese.
Sam živim i sam radim. I sam sve živo radim.
Božo comes to the market every Friday with about 200 kilos of dairy products and sells out quickly. Could it be his marketing style? With Croatian entrance in the EU, new concerns arrived. EU rules forced them to make their stands more hygienic. The cheese sellers complied with new plexiglass and refrigeration.
Jer mi smo mali propali, to nažalost, ali koliko ste rekli? Ali nažalost, mi to ne možemo pratiti.
U stvari se ne zna kaj naš čeka. Ali ja mislim da ko je voljan raditi i radi da se taj nema čega boja.
The tradition of selling fresh cheese and sour cream in Zagreb markets goes back even more than 160 years. The cheese ladies had become an attraction for tourists and symbol of this market. And they perhaps have become a greater symbol of maintaining Croatian identity even as we join the European Union. But besides cheese, there is another famous food on menus all over the Balkans, cevapi. Even if they aren't originally part of our culture, they are part of our identity.
It's hard to tell from where the cevapi officially originated. People mostly refer to it as a Bosnian or Turkey meal. On every corner of the city, on every market, you can find the cevapi restaurant filled with people. Goran comes frequently.
The best way to eat cevapi is on the street because of the atmosphere, and you have to eat cevapi with your fingers, with your friends out there on the sunshine.
Cevapi are almost like the Balkan fast food. They are eaten in small restaurants with bare hands and no side dish, except onions. The recipe of the best cevapi is secret. It is made from rolled minced veal meat with an add of special spices. It is grilled and served sizzling hot immediately. Does eating cevapi makes us Balkans?
Ko voli jesti jela sa žara, jesti će ih uvijek, bez obzira što je nekakva idejna ili ideologijska sadržina koja se jelu pridaje, a što može, a i ne mora biti utemeljeno.
By late afternoon, cevapi customers more than satisfied and the market's ready for a nap. While the customers go home, the cheese ladies are already left to prepare more cheese for tomorrow. Iva Lukac reporting for Student TV Zagreb.
We're here in Upper Town with the unpredictable spring weather to ponder great literature, such as this. Our verse is the life that plays the soul. These are the words of Mator, our famous poet.
Language is an important ingredient of establishing identity. The words, grammar, and even pronunciation distinguish us from other Slavic languages.
Or do they? Teas Kelim with the report.
Viktorija Škoričak from Serbia has come to Croatia to explore the open spaces between South Slavic languages, a librarian and a student at Zagreb Faculty of Humanities and Social Sciences.
I decided to study in Croatia because for me it's very important to achieve experience in different surroundings among different cultures, people, nationalities.
The war almost 20 years ago caused a certain division among Croatian and Serbian people. The tension made it difficult for intercultural cooperation. However, Viktorija decided to take this challenge and prove that prejudices aren't always true.
I think I don't have difficulties with Croatian language because it's very similar to my mother tongue, which is Serbian. But sometimes when I have to write some essays, I have problems with some specific constructions which we don't have in Serbian.
Professor Ivo Žanić, who teaches social linguistics, explains the situation between the two nations, Croatian and Serbian, whose history has been meshed together for ages.
Ta imperijalna ideja ima zapravo svoju jezičnu osnovu koja nije u to doba raspolagala analitičkim kategorijama da racionalno objasni hrvatsku situaciju koja je jedan evropski specifikum.
Language is a system that helps people communicate. There are more than 7,000 worldwide, each part of nation's identity. War and conflict expose the differences between the languages even more. Anđelka Petrović from Serbia, a high school teacher visiting Zagreb, says that there is no need to keep those boundaries.
Insistira se na razlici od zadnje decenije 20. veka, jer jezik jeste pitanje nacionalnog identiteta.
Aleksandar Miladinović, a Serbian TV journalist for B92 with experience across the region, clarifies that despite similarities, controversy and criticism in media are still inevitable.
Well, we live in the Balkans. It's sometimes more about politics and elections and political parties than it's about the real difference in languages and the problem with understanding each other.
Conscious and comprehending happens when politics interfere.
A razlike mislim da su više nametnute nego što su stvarne. Tako da se svi mi nastojimo da na neki način svoj jezik učinimo posebnim.
Wounds from recent history might still be fresh, but Alexander sees the brighter future.
The good thing is that language, although it's one of the most important things that describe an identity, it's also a thing that connects to identities, which is, I think, even more important.
Opening linguistic borders between these two countries will roll forward the relations to the brighter side. This is Tess Kellen reporting for Student TV.
Wars, history, and civilizations create borders. Culture has a way of crossing them and confusing them. For example, what is the West?
What is the East? To us, East is Bosnia, Serbia, Montenegro, and beyond, eventually to Turkey.
Eastern countries look at Croatia as the West and a gateway to Europe, but we will be much more once we enter the European Union.
What really defines the boundaries of Croatian cultural map? Filip Fortuna sat down with Professor Zlatan Krajina to explore the answers.
As a mediated communications researcher, part of your studies have looked at branding cultures and the distinctions between East and West. In what way does the West make the others by creating borders?
There is always a distinction between inside and outside, whereby whoever is outside the border, whoever is beyond the knowable and known horizon of land and territory and culture and knowledge is deemed uncivilized, barbaric.
How would you describe the term Balkanist continuity?
Well, this refers to a specific discursive tendency in the ways in which the West has been representing the region, the Balkans, about the dangers of the Balkans. And I have found myself in a study about how the BBC reported on Croatia and Turkey as well in 2005 when those two countries were gaining membership candidate status, that these stereotypes continued. The Balkans seem to have stayed frozen in time, right? What the West has learned about the Balkans is, of course, the reflection of what they do not want to imagine themselves being.
We sent our team to a Zagreb elementary school and also out on the street to test students and the public's geography. And here we can see that they have mentioned in the region only a couple of countries.
Yes, this is very interesting.
So we can see they mentioned only, for instance, Serbia and Bosnia, but there aren't some other countries in the region.
seems that cultural mapping that we just talked about is quite powerful, that it kind of settles in the imagination, right? After the territories in the colonized world have been decolonized, theorists say that now we have to decolonize imagination, right? And this is an excellent example of this story in particular, because now younger people imagine the region not consisting of Slovenia, which is western from Croatia, only the region what is eastern from Croatia.
Dr. Krajina, thank you for your time. Obviously, there aren't easy answers when it comes to questions about cultural identity. We will still be exploring this topic. Back to you, Srna and Matija.
If you drew a cultural map of Croatia, you'd see colorful customs from many different countries and religions embedded into it.
That becomes crystal clear around holidays.
More and more we are importing foreign holidays and traditions. But at what cost?
St. Patrick's Day, Valentine's and Halloween are becoming very popular in Croatia. Is this a trend or a new tradition? Mirela Polić reports.
He's famous all around the world, as in Ireland as in Croatia.
I know Chicago, they turn the river green.
I'm actually atheist. The only holiday I celebrate is St. Patrick's.
On the 17th of March, everyone turns Irish, but only few people know St. Patrick was actually Scottish. For 7 years, Croatia has been celebrating this saint.
It's a good combination of drinking, music, and good weather. And the women, yeah.
Anthropologists claim we make our own traditions.
To je još jedan praznik u tom nizu, tom hodu praznika kroz godinu koji ljudima pomaže da se malo odmaknu od svakodnevnice. Ljudi u stvari rade ono što im se dopada, neke stvari nestaju, a neke koje su im zgodne, one se rade dalje.
Grandparents used to celebrate St. Lucia, St. Martin, and today young people color their hair green.
The kilt was made here in Zagreb in Croatia by my friend's mother 10 years ago, and I've been celebrating St. Patrick's since that time.
Beer is a big part of this celebration.
I suppose about 5 liters is the average spend by people.
Prvo je ljudi vole pit, drugo je ja volim pit, treće je ljudi vole pit.
Irish music, Irish beer, Irish food, but all this in Croatia. Because of these festivals, we know a lot about foreign holidays. What about our own? St. Joseph is only 2 days away, but only few people know that. They also don't know he is Saint Protector of Croatia.
The saints cannot be really foreign. If we talk about the Universal Catholic Church, then they belong to the entire world.
Saint Valentine also belongs to the world. Today, Croats celebrate it differently than our ancestors did. What about Halloween?
Unusual sort of festivity, which has nothing to do with God.
Despite some foreign holidays intruding our culture, we decide what we are and what we are not, and what we will celebrate. This is Mirela Polić reporting for Student TV Zagreb.
Bravo!
So we have come full circle, exploring Zagreb while exploring Croatia's identity.
We can conclude that our identity is developing and appears to be in a state of flux.
But there are also some constants, firmly fixed about who we are and what we will remain.
This is just the beginning of a conversation. We hope it stirs you up into discussion, for that is how culture grows and identity blossoms.
And the discussion continues online. Follow our blog on www.studenttvzagreb.wordpress.com.
And tweet us at #TVNewsZagreb. I'm Srna Bijuk, thanks for joining us.
And I'm Matija Zupković, see you online and on the streets of Zagreb.
And tweet us at TV and Ovo nije dobro.
Kod, pa čovječem. Neću ovam, ne da mi se više.
I'm maintaining blah, 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 blah.
Matija Zupković, follow.
Back to you, Matija and Srna.
Mislav, napravi mi crtu kada stanem i da kada ponovno krenem put tebe.
Has the story.
Nasmijala sam se ko budala.